Welcome to Align to Your Design. I'm your host, Baeth Davis. Isn't it time to wrap your business around your purpose and bring your greatest work to the world? Each week, join me as we explore various biometric tools such as human design and hand analysis and how to use them to fulfill your destiny and align to your design. We will reveal how to do the work you are designed to do rather than what you think you should do. Hey, everybody. You are listening or watching Align to Your Design. I am Baeth Davis. And today we are going to talk about the magic of language, the magic of words in a language, to be able to communicate what you do, especially if it's difficult to describe, especially if you do deep transformational work, as many of our listeners do. You go very deep with clients. You're not messing around on the surface. You're really guiding people to deep transformation. Our guest today, Kate Wolf, is an expert in helping people find their true voice, what she would call your wild voice, and bringing that forth into the world. So we're going to explore that. And like we do on every Align to Your Design podcast, we're going to have a chat with our guest. Today it's going to be Kate. We're going to have a conversation about how she got into her work and what she does. And then we're going to look at her human design chart. And I always ask every guest before they come on, what one thing in their chart do they want to explore, which is very illuminating for me to see where people's minds are at about their designs, and hopefully very illuminating and enticing to you. I do free trainings nearly every week, unless I'm on vacation, in my Facebook group called Align to Your Design. And you can go to yourpurpose.com/community and join our Facebook group, and you can come to the trainings. And we would love to have you. It's been life altering. And as Kate's going to share a bit about what's happened for her with human design and her business as well, because she has had some really remarkable results in the past year of applying what we teach in our community along with her incredible expertise. So let me tell you a bit about our guest, and then I'll bring her on and we'll have, I no doubt, a deep conversation. So Kate Wolf is a transformational coach, writer, speaker, and she's the founder of Spirited Business. And Spirited Business offers an incredible program called StorySchool, which she's going to tell you more about. StorySchool is a program she created and delivers. And she does the Wild Voices facilitation process to help you discover, elicit, and communicate your wild voice. As a catalyst for joyful self-expression, Kate helps highly sensitive entrepreneurs to stop bowing at the altar of what other people think. Yes, it's a good thing to stop bowing to, and to dare to share their own unique voice. So that's the dare to you, dear audience member, is to find your voice. If you do deep work that's hard to explain, Kate will guide you to find joy in your unique self-expression that speaks straight to the heart of your real, ideal client, so you can make life-changing income for your world-shaping work. And with that, let's bring on our wonderful guest, Miss Kate Wolf, hailing from the UK.
Hello.
Hello. I'm so happy to be with you today.
Me too. What a delicious introduction. Thank you.
Well, you are a light in this world.
Thank you.
You really are. You really are. So how did you get to where you are now? Or in other words, how did you end up doing what you're doing? Because helping people find their wild voice isn't something you hear every day, which is also what makes it so special.
Right. Yeah. Great question. So there's definitely been a journey with many ups and downs, and essentially for a long while, more than a decade, I was walking this twofold path, right? So on the one side, I was immersed in the world of theatre, writing, performing, directing. I was the artistic director of a theatre company, and we did lots of really amazing, really fulfilling work, particularly with children with special needs and adults with special needs. And we partnered with the National Autistic Society and MenCap. Really exquisite, exciting, exploratory, playful, performative work. And then on the other side, I was diving into the world of spirituality, healing. I was working as an energy healer, as a yoga teacher, and trying everything out there. And pretty much, you name it, I've done it, right? Reiki, Theta, Taoism, Tantra, breath work, rebirthing. Like I was like, just really, really diving deep. And what I realized as a result of being immersed in these two worlds was that the most healing thing I saw happen was when people allowed themselves to just really express who they really are.
Mm.
It was that simple. And I also witnessed the difficulty, the struggles, a lot of the amazing people doing the healing work, like doing the rebirthing, the breath work, the yoga teaching, the meditation, the difficulty they were having in communicating its power, owning its value, receiving money, lots of money stories in those communities. And so I realized that I could bring these worlds together and use my expertise in the world of theatre and communication to support the amazing healers of the world to communicate their magic.
What an incredible journey. Nothing goes to waste.
Nope.
It all factors in there.
Yeah.
So tell us about your business now. What's happening in your business now in terms of your success? And then my question is, after you tell us about what's happening, what do you put your success down to, or what do you attribute it to?
So my business now is such a delight. Like I have my amazing team. We have our weekly team meetings now. There are 4 of us all together, so it feels, there's four videos, right? It feels very stable. And I now have my high-level year-long program called Mesmerize, with the most like on the nail ideal clients inside, for whom it is a joy to turn up for, to teach, to serve, to guide. I am about to launch StorySchool for, I think, I was trying to count it. It's either the 7th or the 8th time. And I'll come back to that when I'm talking about what I put the success down to. So I'm about to relaunch and deliver StorySchool. I have the year-long program. The team is in place. Just last month in April 2021, the business was past the 6-figure mark.
Woo!
Whoop, whoop. Very exciting. Yes, I think we totaled out at £112,000, which I looked up in US, it's about 155.
Yeah.
About.
Yeah.
About 150.
Yeah, I was going to say it's about 160 was the number I got. 160,000. Not bad.
Yeah, that is feeling really satisfying, really fulfilling. It also makes a lot more possible. I'm really seeing that the practical side of what money coming into a business makes possible. It makes having the team possible. Although I did invest in team before the money was coming in, and I think that is an intelligent decision to make if you're doing the right things. But also the money coming in now means that feels, very easeful. I'm not like, oh my God, how am I going to pay my team, right? There's a lot more inner peace. I sleep very well at night. It's also much more fun. I'm no longer doing it by myself or sort of feeling responsible for it all, and having my amazing right-hand women who I've had for a long time, which was fantastic to have. But suddenly with the 4 of us, it just feels much more solid, like much more is possible. And there's more joy, right? I'm like, I've created this. I get to turn up to my, sure it's online, but my online office with people I've chosen and create wonderful things for people.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And I only answered the first half.
Yes, I know.
So the second, It was reveling in the feeling of success.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, what I put that down to is communication. Absolutely, the power of good communication, and this might seem like a contradiction, but of showing up and sharing before I knew what the hell I was talking about.
Yeah.
Right? Because the only way to really know, as in not just try and figure it out by yourself up in your head, is to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So showing up before I was ready, and then observing, not making it mean horrible things about me, but taking it as learnings, shifting, growing, and doing the inner work required to keep going when in the years when there was little seemingly little sort of stuff happening as a
Mm-hmm.
result.
Mm-hmm.
Doing the inner work to feel essentially loving enough of myself and who I am and where I am that I could choose to let myself be seen, right? And then doing the crafting work. And I think people often try to do the crafting work, the shaping, the finessing, before they know what they're trying to shape and finesse.
Right.
And I notice that with the questions people will sometimes bring, they'll kind of go into trying to name something, and I'll go, whoa, hang on, what are we naming?
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, because when you really know the essence of something and what you're doing and why and who it's for, I find that the name just emerges.
It does.
So if you're really struggling to find a name, it's probably because you don't know what you're yet naming. So I would put my success down to showing up before I was ready, doing the inner work, doing the crafting work, the finessing, to more and more speak specifically to people who I had then come to recognize as my ideal clients, my
Mm-hmm.
real
Mm-hmm.
ideal clients, the ones that bring me alive, that bring me joy to serve, and then having a good offer.
Yeah.
And you know, this now is looping back to whether it's the 7th or 8th time I'm delivering Story School, is having a good offer and then doing it again and again and again and again and again until I became known for it. And I've had the experience now of being at events or networking and people coming up to me who I don't know and saying, oh my goodness, I've got to do Story School. And it started to take on a life of its own.
Mm-hmm.
Because of my devotion to it, instead of the old version of me who would have done something, thought, oh, that was kind of fun, what's next?
And you are a generator in human design, as
Yes.
I am. And generators, we are 37% of the human population. And our mastery in life really falls into two areas: our work and in intimacy. That's what the generator seeks. And so, in order to experience that mastery, repetition is required, more so than for, say, a manifesting generator or even the other types. But we are reliable builders. We are, and when we have that consistency and we go over it again and again, it does lead to mastery, which
Yeah.
it seems to me you're moving into now with this program. And it's, and your reputation precedes you as a result.
Mm.
Yeah, that's very powerful. So what do you think, or what have you observed with your own clients that gets in the way of their success and satisfaction?
So I alluded to it a little bit there, this desire to know the answers
Uh-huh.
before we could possibly know the answers, right? The desire
Mm-hmm.
to know what the program's called and what's in it and what
Right.
people want before having actually gone out, shared your voice, let yourself be seen, noticed who responds, what are they asking for, what are they wanting for. So trying to skip that phase. And actually that as a sort of pattern in general is trying to skip stuff.
Steps. Yeah.
Right, skipping steps or skipping to how, you know, and going
Mm-hmm.
immediately to strategy, and I could do this and I could whatever it is, right? And the strategy might be great, like, oh, I could build a Facebook group, or do some ads or whatever, before really being clear on, like, what do you want?
Right.
What are you building? What kind of life do you want for yourself? So
That's right.
that sort of listening to lots of different advice and grabbing onto things that appear to be answers when you don't actually yet know what the problem is you're trying to solve.
They don't even have a question, right? Like, what's the objective here?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So the trial and error then is often missing,
Yeah.
and jumping to the how. Those are
Yeah.
two things. Was there a third thing?
Yes. And it's what, you talked about in my bio. And it's really my main thing when we look at my work from a personal growth aspect, which is putting other people's opinions over your own goddamn joy,
Right.
and
Yep.
letting that stop you. And because
That's
we
right.
all have those fears, right?
Yes.
But that in itself isn't actually the problem. It's choosing to let them be more important than living your purpose,
Hmm.
than feeling joyful, than feeling fulfilled, than falling asleep at night totally satisfied with how you lived your life.
Those are really good pieces of advice there. Very good. So tell me more about this bowing at the altar of what other people think. Very nice segue. So I
Mm,
wanted to ask you about that. So say more about what that means to you, because it's a funny thing with language. Everybody has their own interpretation of every single word, and we sort of understand each other. But I
yeah.
often wonder, do we really? So when you say the altar of what other people think, what does that mean to you?
Mm. So true. First of all, so true that we do that. And what I mean when I say bowing at the altar of what other people think, and first of all, it is, if you think about that action, right, it is sort of very what is that word? Like,
Genuflect?
yeah, exactly. And you're putting yourself beneath
That's right. That's right.
someone and how they may or may not, it's mostly imaginary, be seeing you or thinking about you. And the piece that I do think it's important to say is, like, I really understand the that desire, right, to be thought well of.
Hmm.
I want to be thought well of course I do. I want to be liked, I want to be loved. And the main reason that's right up there in my bio and is a big piece of the work I do is because of the amount of work I've had to do to let go of the need to be liked, and letting other people's opinions of me stop me from growing and shining as much as I know I could and can. And because what I realized is, when we're acting from that place, then we're acting sort of, I think of a lot of things energetically, right? And I experience a lot of things energetically, and this feels like a sideways energy, right? Like
Hmm.
we're trying to get something, we're trying to sneakily get being liked, or being loved, but it's not real. The only way to really have that need fulfilled is to dare to show up
Hmm.
as who you really are, because then the love that you receive is real and true, and the connection and the intimacy, right? You use the word intimacy, the connection that you get to feel, whether it's in what we think of as intimate relationships, or relationships with our clients
Hmm.
or our team, right? I talked about how much joy my team brings me. Those connections are real and fulfilling, but only when we first let ourselves be who we really are, as opposed to acting from a shadow place, from a sort of tactic place. And of course it's not conscious, it's all the unconscious stuff that has us do the sideways grab for love,
Hmm.
that isn't really love, because we're not being ourselves.
Right. Yeah.
So this is what's underneath all my work. On the surface, my work is about getting the right eyes on your business, attracting real ideal clients. And underneath, and it's no secret, I very much talk about it openly, it's about self-love.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, that is the foundation. One of my business partners, Pamela Landers, often said in our teachings, self-love is the bottom line.
Mm,
It is the bottom line
yeah,
for most of us.
yeah.
So, what is your absolute favorite thing to do with business owners when they show up in your world? Because it's a special world they show up in.
It is a special world. Oh, can I have some a handful of favorite things? Because one of them is this piece. One of them is making the shift from what will other people think and having that as their kind of to what do I think?
Mm-hmm.
What
Mm-hmm.
do I want? What do I care about?
Yeah.
Oh, there's so much energy there,
There
and
is.
freedom and capacity for joy. So that is definitely one of my favorite things, is helping business owners make that shift, admit what they want, whether it's diamond rings or a life off grid, like admit it.
Right. Take ownership for what you want.
Yeah, yeah. And I often find that simple act of admitting what you really want unlocks so much energy. And then all the communication, the marketing becomes easier because we all know how to speak,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
But when we're blocking it with what will other people think about me, right, is the end of that sentence, which is you think it's focused on the other, but it's not, it's focused on yourself. And that's the ironic twist, is people think that they're thinking about other people while quite regularly being scared of being seen as selfish, but they're actually being selfish
Mm-hmm.
because they're letting their own feelings essentially be more important than being of service.
Yeah.
And so I love helping people see that and make that switch from, oh wow, I'm going to make living my purpose, showing up for others, be more important than whether some random stranger on the internet happens to, agree with me or not.
Yeah. And do you find, because I find now that sometimes I post things and, a conversation, let's call it a conversation, gets going.
Yeah.
And I'll read the comments, but I, often won't comment. And sometimes people can get really rowdy. And in the past, that would really bother me. And now I don't care.
Mm.
I feel like I'm quoting Ricky Gervais. I love him. I think he's so irreverent. And I love how he says, I don't care. I don't. And to reach that place of, not that I don't care about the humans, I do, but to reach that place of, hey, you're going to say what you need to say. That's not about me. I
Yeah.
said what I needed to say. Your response to it is about you.
Yeah.
And I'm so clear on that now. So,
Yeah.
yes, I care about what my mother thinks. I care about what you think. I care about the man I'm dating. I mean, there's people in my life I care about what they think.
Mm.
But getting to that place where you can stop bowing is so profound.
So profound.
It's
Yes.
so profound. So, what would you recommend to someone, a business owner in this case, who would want to find or finesse, tweak, perfect, if that's even the right word, their wild voice?
Yes, I'm glad you've asked that, because that's my other favorite thing to do. Obviously,
Right.
the first piece is like help them get wildly on purpose, in
Yes.
integrity, admit what you want, come on. And then it's this piece around voice and messaging. And so the first thing to say in terms of if someone wants to find and finesse their wild voice, the first thing to know and understand is they're two very different steps.
Mm,
We talked about trying to skip steps. So if someone doesn't yet have the internal freedom to speak about what they want, to say when they're angry, to assert boundaries, to to tell their partner what's pleasurable for them, right? Then
Right, right.
that's a step, and a really big one, first.
Mm-hmm.
And that person shouldn't skip to finessing, because they don't know yet, like, what, I'm thinking of a sculptor, they don't yet know what they're working with.
That's right.
So so if someone was at that place, then I would really recommend writing every single day. One of my favorite practices for myself and to recommend for my clients is the morning pages practice,
Yes.
Julia Cameron's From the Artist's Way, because it's so freeing to just write,
Yes.
3 whole
Yes.
pages, not stop. Like, if you find yourself pausing and kind of daydreaming, like, oh, that's the stuff I'm supposed to be writing. Yeah. And it's a real freeing up of energy, and for some people, years and years and years of suppression, of not being honest with their emotions. And so that is one of my favorite practices to recommend if someone's wanting to find their voice and coming to a Wild Voices class, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's a really lovingly crafted process, which I've honed and finessed, right, over many years. And the writing in a Wild Voice class, if someone comes to a Wild Voice class, the writing is only one stage of it. There are other stages of it where you get to share and you get to feel and hear yourself speaking, and then experience yourself reflected by another. No critiquing. It's not about how it could be better. It's about what someone is seeing
Yeah.
in you. And it's so powerful. And doing that month after month, I see amazing, amazing shifts happening in people that come regularly to the Wild Voices classes. And then for the finessing, well, work with me. I mean, really, there aren't many people who do both. There are lots of people who will help you free your voice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And there are lots of people who will help you craft marketing messages. I don't know many people who help you first dive to the truth, clear all the crap, get to the essence, and then craft that into a communicable form.
Right.
For your ideal client.
Right. No, you offer a very special service that fills a gap that's much needed, because you're addressing the person prior to this process of finding the voice, leading them through it, helping them find ways to express it, and then finessing it over time, which is the process.
Yeah.
And because you've been at this so long, you have a really strong structure for which the creativity can float around in. One of my, I guess I would call it a polarity teacher, embodiment teacher, John Wineland, he posted something on Instagram, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, that seems appropriate here, where he was sharing about how you have a successful business from his point of view. And what he was saying was, well, first you need, number one, work that goes very, very deep. That was his first command, in a way. He's a manifester in human design, I believe. I think he's a manifester. That would be my guess. Or manifesting generator. But you need to go very, very deep. And then two, you need a super strong container or structure to hold people as they go through that deep work. And he said, if you can communicate the depth of the work and then create an impeccable container, which I've been working on certainly in my business, and I know you've been working on in your business, right? There's a lot of trial and error with creating that container.
A lot.
Especially when you have a lot of people, because, not everybody reads the agreement, not everyone follows the instructions, it can be repeated 20 times and someone still misses it. But just continuing to work on that container so that the creativity can flow through. And I see you as someone who has achieved that at a remarkable level, that you provide both this impeccable container and this depth of work that goes to the soul level of the individual so they truly can show up and serve.
Oh, thank you. That
You're
means a
welcome.
lot.
Yeah. So
So,
I was thinking when I read that, like, well, who do I know that's achieved that? And it's not a lot of people, but maybe it'll become more people if we keep
I
doing
hope
our work, right?
so.
Like, I don't like it that it's rare for people to know what to say.
Yeah,
I don't like it that a lot of people are afraid of what everybody thinks of them.
yeah.
Like, this is disappointing and frustrating to me.
Me too. I
I want
agree.
people to love themselves.
Yes.
So with that, I want to share with everyone where they can find out more, and then we're going to look at your human design. Okay. So if you'd like to join Kate's Facebook group, I'm going to give you the link, and then I want you to share about the group if you would. So if you go to katewolf.global/community, and it's down in the notes or wherever the notes are when you're watching this podcast, it's KATEWOLF.global/community, and that'll take you over to Kate's Facebook group. So let's talk about that first, and then we'll talk a bit about Story School, and then we'll look at your design. So what is the
Great.
name of your Facebook group, and what happens there?
Yes. So the name is Highly Sensitive, Wildly Successful, because the two do not need to be mutually exclusive. So my clients, those people who do the deep work, right? Because when you're highly sensitive, you have access to more information and ways of knowing than the other 80% of the population. And we don't want those people to be fitting themselves in to
No,
models that work for other
that's
people,
right.
because it squashes the magic. So the group is Highly Sensitive, Wildly Successful. It's for magical business owners doing deep work who want to learn how to communicate it. Really interesting you mentioned containers, because that's probably something I'll one day bring into my teachings is how to create containers for your magical deep work. And every Tuesday, I do a class called Mesmerizing Messaging. So make sure you come into the community, come and join those trainings. And I'm very open and very responsive. So if you have questions for me about showing up and shining as a highly sensitive entrepreneur, about finding the right words, the right energy, please do ask those questions inside the group.
Wonderful, wonderful. And you have Story School coming round the bend again, and we'll also give out the link. We've given out the link for that. So tell us a bit about what's coming up with Story School.
So Story School is for business owners who are ready to really put their purpose and their magic center stage through storytelling. So revealing why they do what they do, revealing why they as an individual do what they do. And there's a slight difference, right? There's the big why, like the vision, this is what I dream of. And then there's this is my life story, this is what I've experienced, this is why it makes complete, unquestionable sense that I would be the person to be delivering this deep work. And I guide you through processes inside Story School to find those two stories, the story of your vision and the story of why you, and then craft them and make them, as succinct as feels right for you, right? Everyone's different. So some people are going to come out with like a 5-sentence potent story, and other people are going to be a bit more floaty, or around the houses even. But for them, that's correct. Right? So we help you find your voice, your way to share about what you do. And it's very simple format. It's 5 weeks, but as is probably unsurprising at this point in the conversation, we do go deep.
Yeah, wonderful, great. So we'll give out that link, and I invite all of you listening and watching this, if you are ready to take your voice to the next level and find its wildness, reach out to Ms. Wolf and get on board. So with that, let's look at your human design.
Yeah, let's go for it.
I'm going to bring that up on the screen here. We've got here a generator, a defined sacral, nothing in the solar plexus. So we know you're not emotional authority, you're sacral authority.
Mhm.
And you find things out through sound. Your yes and no sounds, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-mm. Have
Mhm.
you found as a sacral being that you've reclaimed more of your sounds,
Yes.
more of your voice that makes sound?
I've been singing more.
Oh,
I've
great.
found, well, who knows, because I live by myself and, essentially it's been a year of lockdown, but I think I'm now singing more in tune.
Yeah, yeah.
I have I won't tell you all about it, but a long story about not singing for many, many years and a lot of pain
Mm,
around not being able to sing. And this year I've been singing a lot more and feeling my voice more in my body.
love it.
Yeah.
It's great. All right. So I had asked you what you wanted to look at in your chart, and you said gate 28. So I'm going to show everyone where gate 28 is. Some of you listening have it, some of you don't. It's a popular one. Here it is, off the spleen. And the spleen is our home of health, intuition. Intuition essentially is here in our bodies to help us survive. That's the point of being intuitive. And the spleen gives us signals through our senses, and it tends not to repeat itself. So the hair will stand up on the back of your neck, or you'll smell something. Like last night, I went with my guy to a new restaurant new to us that we hadn't been to. And as we drove by one place and we both were like, no. And,
Mm.
and then we found another place and opened the door, and the smell was so good. I was like, oh, it smells good. He's like, right. And we had great food there. So you can always tell by the
Mm.
smell. I can always tell by the smell at a restaurant. I've been known to just walk away when the door opens to a restaurant, be like, oh no, we're not eating here unless you want food poisoning. We're not eating here, or just mediocre food, right? So the spleen understands this instinctively to protect the body. It's just we get so out of tune because we get so in our heads and we
Mm.
don't listen to it. So any of the gates off the spleen have to do with intuition. You can see that you've got three, and then you've got an entire channel here with the 1858. So there's one, actually, oh sorry, you've got two channels. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4 gates and two channels off the spleen. So this is going to give a very strong splenic skill to you as a person, which is intuition. We know you're a very intuitive person.
Mm.
And gate 28 in particular is very interesting because it's called the game player. That's from the I Ching, the game player, gate 28. And you have gate 28 in both of your Pluto positions. And for people new to human design, on the right side, we have Kate's astro chart. And then we have her design side here, 88 days before one is born. And this is when the ajna comes in, or the soul crystal that informs the building of the body in utero. So you have it in both Plutos, and then you also have it in your personality Mars, which we'll talk about in a moment here. So it shows up in three places. So anytime you see this stripe situation, you know that it's showing up in multiple places, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gates that double or triple in your design. So that it gives you intensity. When things double up, triple up, quadruple up in a design, that's intensity. And
Mhm.
you'll notice that in people, like may have a lot of openness in the chart, but where they've got things colored in, which is essentially you, there's this intensity. So to have 28 three times, and you have 28 6 twice, which we'll talk about in a moment here, that's really very intense. So the game player. So the way I describe this, Kate, is that life is game. And people that don't get that news flash really miss out because you determine how to play the game. There's
Yeah.
no rules. There are rules. They're karmic, and you'll find them out through trial and error very quickly, right? Like I don't know who said it, was Michael Beckwith or Bob Proctor or somebody. Gravity affects everyone the same way. Like if you jump off the building, everyone's going to hit the ground.
Mm.
There are laws, but many of them are taught to us. Fortunately, don't eat the poisonous mushroom. Don't jump off the building. Don't play with knives. And we learn these things, and yet we get very conditioned, right, through all the openness about what we're supposed to do for approval. So
Mm.
people will like us. And the more traditional the culture, say, in our family, people marry this way. And, there's even people still in arranged marriages, which has its pluses and minuses. They're in someone else's game. It's not their game. And the majority of humanity is still in a tribal mindset, fulfilling someone else's game. So there's like the laws of the universe, and then there's your game. And so you instinctively and intuitively know, Kate, that it is a game. And when someone has gate 28 and they realize, oh my goodness, this is a game. I'm going to play to win. I'm going to play for keeps. I'm going to play full out. I am going to bring it, because why not? Because the beauty of this game is if you can intention it and it's correct for you, you're going to have it. And that's what people are like. It really is a candy store, but you've got to first recognize you're in a game, and a lot of people are out for blood, right? It's like paintball, only with real weapons half the time. So it's understanding all that. And so you do. And the other energy in gate 28 is life purpose. Now, I also look to gate 13 because I consider gate 28 and gate 13 the two primary life purpose gates in the design, and you have both. So 28 is, what game are you playing? You better be playing the only game that matters, which is find and live your life purpose. That is the game. Just spell it out for everyone. And so I often say the only fight that matters is the fight for your life purpose. There is no other fight. And if you get caught in other people's fights, you're not in the right game. You're not here to fight for other people. You can advocate for them if they want you to, but you're here to fight for your purpose. So understanding that's the fight that matters. It really is a fight, because there's so many forces, right, pulling on people to not do their purpose. Conform. Oh, you can't make money at that. That's too much of a risk. What will people say? You're going to look like a fool, and on and on and on. And the game player's like, I don't care. I'm going to win this mother effing game for myself. Right? So you have it there. Now I'm going to just pull up Ra's book. And for those of you new to the community, it is the definitive book of human design. It is the book I recommend. We give out our affiliate link. We appreciate you using our affiliate link. It helps pay for our free trainings, the little commissions we get from Amazon. So we appreciate you using the link. But in the back of this book, you can look up a gate and the line. So I want to start with with line 6, right? So we're not going to worry about this. This is another line beneath the line. But 28-6. So we've got the gate of the game player in Mars and Pluto, and you've got the up arrow in Mars. Line 6, blaze of glory, sacrifice rather than capitulation to the law of deterioration. Regeneration and renewal, no matter what the price, the deep intuitive drive to win, no matter what the cost. Now, the shadow is self-destruction, the deep intuitive fear of defeat, and a potentially profound hopelessness in times of struggle. So the main thing for you is when you're in struggle to just recognize, oh, this is part of the game. There was that great book, Things Fall Apart, and they fall apart, and then you build something new. Everything falls apart eventually. And that's the nature of this gate, the transitoriness of power and influence. It's transitory. You don't have it all the time, but when you do have it, use it. Gate 28, preponderance of the great, the game player. So it's this greatness that lives in us. But if you have gate 28, it's playing to win. And people may not understand this in you. Like, where does this drive come from? What is she going for? And it's that blaze of glory, right? Like, you won't stop. You've got it twice, and you have it in Mars, right? Which is positively aspected. It's got the up arrow, so it's a positive attribution. Mars is about our energy, our drive, and it's also the most young or immature part of us on both sides. When we're talking on the personality side, it's more how others experience you. They experience this drive in you. And it's the part of you that wants to mature, is to use that energy for something great. Right? That's the desire. I want to not only find my life purpose, I want to create something great.
Yeah.
Do you resonate to that?
100%. And I know that's the drive, quite literally, that set me on this journey in the first place. Because before I knew what I wanted to do, before I knew anything really, and this is why I talk about showing up and sharing before you're ready, because I didn't know anything about what my message was.
Right.
All I had was this inner urge to, I'm trying to put words on something that didn't have words. It was a feeling, this inner urge, inner calling, inner drive to create a life and a living, a financial living, because I understood if I didn't do it from this, I'd have to go do something else, right?
Right.
And that
Right.
felt like a waste of time and a waste of
Right.
energy and a waste of life force.
Uh-huh.
So this drive to create a living from sharing my gifts before I knew what my gifts were.
Right.
Yeah, to create something great
Hmm.
with them.
And then your design Pluto, this is not what's driving you necessarily. Sorry, I want to use the right language. The Pluto is about your deepest truth, your deepest truth. So the deepest truth for the other is, hey, better go down and blaze in glory than not try, right?
Mm.
Go for it. That is
Mm.
the message. Sacrifice rather than capitulation to the law of deterioration. So regeneration and renewal, no matter what the price. The drive to win, no matter the cost. Line 2, shaking hands with the devil. And I've always loved this one. I love these keynotes. Shaking hands with the devil. Distasteful alliance, a means, however unsavory, that is justified by its end when the game turns to a struggle, the intuitive acceptance of any alliance in order to win. And this, I've seen this in my own life. I don't have gate 28, but the way that I look at it is you are able to find the good in even the most difficult of people.
Mm.
And there's a capacity to understand when you can have an alliance, even if it's not ideal, if it's going
Mm.
to bring your work out into the world in a greater way. I mean, without compromising your ethics,
Yeah.
right? I mean, that's the thing. It's like just sometimes we have these distasteful alliances. I've had them in my life, and I would check in, and my body said, "Oh, like it's not worth letting this person go. They're
Mm.
just difficult, but what they bring to you that's positive far outweighs the difficulty of their personality."
Yeah.
And so you will intuitively understand that.
Yeah.
But sometimes you gotta to win this game, you're gonna have to deal with some difficult people. And because you have this line too, you're able to finesse and negotiate and navigate that relationship in a way that's quite elegant
Mm.
without creating conflict, because you're not
Mm.
a conflictive type of person. You'll speak up, but you're not combative. I mean, unless, someone's questioning your ethics or coming after your work or not doing the work, then they'll see that side of you that's quite direct.
They will. They will.
You're very direct. You're very disciplined. This is the chart of someone very disciplined, who has a great deal of protocol that you apply to things. It's not loosey goosey with you.
Mm.
So people need to know that they are coming into a fairly tight structure, but within that structure, they're held and supported and safe to win the game.
Yeah.
So
Which
this
is
is, go
the
ahead.
real freedom,
It
right?
is the real freedom. And that's the thing for you, I would encourage you to talk to people about is, I encourage you to bring more of that language even into your work, that life's a game. And playing to win means playing to express yourself. I mean, because without the voice, nothing happens.
Absolutely.
Right? It's the
Yeah.
communication. I mean, yes, body language, which is communication, but especially now that we're all online so much, and of
Mm.
course things are shifting. Things are always shifting, but for the time being so much online, you've got to be able to communicate, because that body language piece is so diminished when you're not in person with someone,
Yeah.
which is
One
very
of the
different.
things I love and appreciate so much about human design is all these pieces, right, that I was aware of intuitively, sort of full stop,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm aware of them. Okay. The chart and your ability to translate, you're translating data, right? Like you're looking
Hmm.
at some lines and some numbers and then translate it in a way where I'm like, oh, so that piece that I've just been allowing to be a piece, I need to make the piece,
Yeah.
and shape just shifts a little, but powerfully.
Because Pluto is way out there in the solar system. So it's a very distant, deep part of us. It's often unconscious.
Mm,
We're usually aware of our sun and earth configurations. We can feel it and people recognize it. But the deepest part of us often is obscured.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
making it conscious, bringing it forth, communicating that to people is so profound.
Yeah, really profound. And having that affirmation of things I'd felt, intuited, suspected, but, then also been questioning, because I'm like, well, can I really claim that I am all about purpose and helping people find their purpose? Maybe I just think that because I've been hanging out with Beth, or maybe I just think that because, of another teacher who's seeing his purpose. And so having it in the chart to affirm that instinctive knowing is just so helpful.
I'm so glad. Well, it's been a pleasure having you today. Any final words of wisdom for our audience?
Well, I mean, what else could it be, right? Other than play your own game and enjoy it. Like, yes, life is not all meant to be, whatever the phrase is, juice and roses is what's coming, which definitely isn't it, but hey, that'll do for now. Of course, there's going to be struggles, but it's mainly meant to be a grand adventure.
Yes.
And
So
a
pick your
joyful
battles.
one.
That's right.
So pick your battles and make sure that battle is you loving your life and enjoying your precious time here on this planet whizzing through space.
I feel like we're being such heretics telling people that the point really is one's happiness, because so much of the conditioning is, oh, you're here to serve God, you're here to serve others, you're here to do all these things externally. And it's like, well, what about serving yourself? What about honoring yourself? And this is tricky. So we're really breaking new ground. I mean, it's quite the heresy. So thank you for today. The links are below, everyone. If you want to go to her Facebook group, go to katewolf.global/community, and you can join Highly Sensitive, Wildly Successful, and experience incredible trainings with Kate. And the affiliate link is also in the notes for StorySchool. And if any of you have people you want to share it with, please reach out to Kate. If you would like to share this in your community, because many of you are coaches, and you may have students who need StorySchool, so send them over to Kate and like that. So anything else before we go?
I just want to thank you, Beth, for your work in the world, your willingness to be a heretic and to be one loudly, and to find delight in it. I love witnessing the delight that you find in it. It's very freeing in itself. So
in ranting, yeah.
Freedom you find in ranting. Yeah, I love it all.
Well, we'd love to have you back on. Keep us posted on everything. It's been such a pleasure. And until we meet again.
Until then.
And everyone, thanks for tuning in. And keep your eye out. You'll get notifications for our next episode. Bye for now. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Align to Your Design. If you did, please grab my free report, Business by Design, at yourpurpose.com, and then join our Facebook group, Align to Your Design. See you next time.